Welcome back to the Alone with a Mouth podcast. My name is Payton, and this is the podcast where I sit by myself, alone, in a room, and I let my stream of consciousness go to work. I normally spend my time writing jokes, writing sketches. I actually just filmed a sketch like half an hour before this, but this podcast is a way for me to mass-produce content, and mass-produce content that is mediocre to help get me famous. That is the goal, and the only goal of this podcast. I have no fun doing this. I don't think there are enough male representation in the witch community. I think there should be more men involved in the witch community. I think when most people, you hear the word witch and you immediately think of a woman. And I think that is something that we in society need to work on. We as a society need to do a better job of incorporating men into the witch culture. I myself am more than happy with starting this male witch movement. Our society needs to do a better job of incorporating males. They just do. Of incorporating males into the witch culture. I think men deserve to be in the witch culture. It's been long enough that the men haven't been involved in the witch culture. And I'm more than willing to be the first one to do it, right? Just give me a broom and like a mole and I'm good to go. I think it's about time. And something I've been thinking about is like, how can I make the world a better place? How can I be more woke? How can I help the world be more inclusive? There we go. How can I help the world be more inclusive? And I think by being the first male witch openly, I think that's a good start. So I have a broom, I need a mole, and now I just gotta be like burned at the stake, right? I think that's the last step of being a witch, is being burned. So I'm moving to Salem tomorrow, and I'm excited to get started. I really am not familiar with witches other than the one from The Girl in Kansas, that movie. So witches, people think witches are scary. I honestly don't think witches are scary. I think old witches are scary, but not because they're witches, but because they're old. I think old people are often terrifying, and not like grandparents. I'm talking like 100-year-olds. I think they're kind of terrifying. But I'm gonna move on from that subject, so I'm not disrespectful to the older generations. I think children are probably more terrifying though than really old people. Children scare me more than being shot, because I live in a safer neighborhood and I've never really faced the reality of that life because I'm very privileged. So that's probably why children scare me more than being shot, because I've lived a privileged life. I am addicted to caffeine. Caffeine is my papi, me papa, me daddy. Caffeine controls my brain in the sense that I need it every day. I need it to look after me. I need it to watch over me. I need it to guard me and protect me. And without it, I am weak, just like without I need caffeine the same way that heroin users need help. Heroin users need help. And I need help. I don't need help like them, but I need analogies. Analogies are a difficult thing to come up with on the spots, but we're going to move on. Because okay, sometimes we're going to get lost in the middle of these things, and that's all right. I didn't suffer from food poisoning the other day, but I thought I did. I went to like a fondue place, and I ate a lot, and then immediately afterwards, I played a game of basketball, and I felt extremely nauseous, and I was like, why am I feeling extremely nauseous? I probably got food poisoning, and then I was like, no, it's probably because you ate like 4,000 calories, and then like half an hour later, played a game of basketball. And that was why. In the moment, I thought I had food poisoning, but it turns out I just ate too much and then worked too hard. And I don't like working hard, and I should stop working so hard. I like the word, it's not a phrase, it's a word. I like saying the word cute. I've realized that I'm often judged by the other, by women because I like to say the word cute in a lot of contexts. And I use it like in the proper context. When I think something is cute, I say something is cute. But most girls, at least that I've talked to, aren't really used to men using that word just like as a casual phrase, and they find it humorous. And I personally get very offended when they find my usage of the word cute to be humorous. Basically, this podcast is all about me making men's lives more inclusive by being witches and saying the word cute. Really, I am here to save the world in a very physical sense, in a very cultural sense of more male inclusion, because everyone knows that male inclusivity is the biggest issue facing America today. My friends are getting engaged. I have a couple of friends that have gotten engaged, and for most people, that's sort of like a moment of crisis, like, oh my gosh, I'm getting so old, my friends are getting engaged. And for me, my brain doesn't really work like that. It more or less just blocks out any sort of emotion, any sort of fear of growing old and dying, any sort of concern that I might die alone, because my brain doesn't want to handle that type of thought process, and so it just disassociates from life. I prefer to spend my life living in an alternate universe. I currently have an alternate universe in my brain that I've been living in for years, in which I am a famous rapper in that alternate universe. Not because I want to, and at this point I actually don't make rap music in my world, I make more like folk music, but because as like a 14-year-old, I wanted to be like Eminem and NF, if you know who those people are. Because what white 14-year-old boy didn't want to? But now I've matured in my alternate universe that exists in my head, and I've not matured in real life. That's funny. I have not matured in real life, but my fictional character, which I live through most of the time, has matured. So maybe I am maturing. Maybe I am maturing. A lot of people, they like doze off in class, or they like daydream in class, and I guess class time would be a great time to get lost in my fictional world inside my head, but I actually spend most of my class time writing jokes, writing sketches, and that's how I stay entertained during class time. Not all my classes. There are some classes I have to like take notes, otherwise I will get lost, like my biology class, which I discussed in the last episode. But I'm trying to do a better job of paying attention. I'm trying to do a better job of taking notes. And sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. Because some of my classes, I just don't need to take notes for. Some of my classes, I don't need to be there. So mentally, I just kind of check out. I should do a better job of taking care of myself in the very in a very physical sense. I think I take care of my mental health. Okay. If I spend most of my time, again, not really in this world, from like a mental standpoint, and so that kind of helps me not have to deal with emotions. But from like a physical sense, I don't shower as often as I should, and I also hate the idea of like people thinking I smell bad, because I hate the idea of being a distraction. But oftentimes when I'm working, the idea of cleaning the crevices of my body doesn't seem all that important until like the following day when I didn't shower the day before, and then I think I'm all stinky. Then it gets really important. So I kind of force myself to take showers because I don't want to be embarrassed. And I also don't want to bring discomfort to other people, because I'm a good person like that. You should applaud me for that, for not wanting to bring discomfort to you. I don't shave nearly as often as I should. I'm one of those guys who can't really grow good facial hair. And so the longer I wait to shave, I don't look more manly. And I don't even look, like my beard doesn't even get more full. I just like look worse. I just slowly look worse until I shave, and then it like resets back. I go from it's like I start at like a 6, I think, and then I like every day I don't shave, it like goes down like half a point. And so by the time I haven't shaved in like 3 weeks, I'm like a 2. And then I shave and I'm right back to a 6. That's basically how shaving works for me, because I shouldn't say I'll never be able to grow a beard, but I am not on the right track to growing a beard in terms of my physical abilities. But also I have time, so maybe when I'm like 30, I'll be good at it. I just need to keep practicing, because practice makes perfect, and I will continue to practice growing beards until one works. Whoop whoop is a phrase that I use in a very not whoop whoop sense. I think of the phrase whoop whoop and I'm like, whoop whoop, oh yeah, like a celebratory whoop whoop. I use whoop whoop in the sense of like a sarcastic celebration, like I just got a hernia, whoop whoop. Yeah, I never had a hernia, actually. That was a lie. I'm sorry. If you have had a hernia, um, oof, shouldn't have done that. That one's on you, but keep working. Remember, practice makes perfect, and you'll get there eventually. I hope you all have a fantastic day. Thank you for listening to the Alone with the Mouth podcast. These will continue to get better or worse, or they will continue to stay the same. But either way, watch the last episode if you want, and watch some of my comedy work that is actually, I think, pretty good, at least in comparison to this. Goodbye, and good riddance.